First thing I want to say is thank you for listening to me and taking the time to converse with me. I'm really glad that we can talk. This is, of course, about the Kyle Rittenhouse uh, not guilty verdict. And I'm appalled, but I should also be saying to myself, we're in America. Why shouldn't it be that he is not guilty? I mean, he has a great name. His name is Kyle. He has a nice sounding European name, Rittenhouse. And he was 17 years old, white, and he was eloquent, all these different things. I mean, why would a jury want to put away such a guy for life? And that's really how the thinking tends to be in America, is that you don't want to waste a white life no matter what. You have to really find something very, very, very serious with him, seriously wrong with him, to put him away. And when I think about how the judge referred to the victims as rioters and looters, and that is his definition. Even though they were victims of a shooting, there were two deaths and one injury that did not take the other person's life. The judge said that these people were to be referred to as rioters and looters. What I realize is that this is not an American problem only. I mean, it's all over the world where people who are in power tend to protect each other and tend to get the better verdicts, because a lot of people who do write the laws are people who are in power. You're not going to write a law or set up a justice system that's going to eventually put you away or keep you in jail. I mean, you're going to have a system that where you have loopholes and be able to get past what most people would not be able to get past. Because everybody who's upset knows that if this were a black teenager, first of all, a black teenager who's 17 years old would never be able to walk through town with an assault weapon. That is not possible. You would not be able to walk through town with a gun. All right, that would not even happen. He would not even get that far. So when people say, well, if it was a black person who had shot these people, that black person would not have gotten that far. All right, that's even ridiculous to think that that person would even have gotten to where Kyle got to. But Kyle was found not guilty on all counts. He was charged with first degree intentional homicide. He was found not guilty. He was charged with attempted first degree intentional homicide. He was found not guilty for that. He was charged with first degree reckless homicide. He was found not guilty for that. And then he was charged with 2 counts of reckless endangerment, and he was still found not guilty. These people in the jury decided, we are not going to put this young black, no, I'm sorry, forgive me. We are not going to put this young white man, boy, whatever, in jail. We are not going to put him away because he was a person who was trying to stop the rioters and looters. And these were people that were protesting what was wrong with a verdict, or not even a verdict, but what was wrong with a police shooting. And so I find it ironic that America was developed or started because people decided to say, we don't want taxation without representation. If you're going to tax us, we need to be represented. We need to be represented in the government. And then there were things like give me liberty or give me death. Give me liberty or give me death, where people wanted to be free. And so there were principles that were used to start this great nation. And these principles involved being able to gather and protest and to demand change. Yet in America, there's a climate where people are being treated as if they are bad people, as if they are rioters and looters, because they're asking for equal justice under the law. And that is, I find that amazingly ironic and silly that people are actually thinking this way. And you know what? The reality is, if I was a white man in America, I probably would say, good job, Kyle. Not all white men, not all white people would say that. But There are a lot of whites in America who are saying, good job, good job. Yeah, you should stand up to these rioters and looters. You should stop them, etc. And we shouldn't put you in jail because of that, because you're a young man that stands for something. So what we have is we have two lives that were taken away, and then we have one that was injured, and we have another one who walked scotch-free, who walked freely and no consequences. And I find it really amazing that I believe it's in Illinois or in Wisconsin, where he had a gun. He had an illegal weapon. He was not supposed to have a gun at 17 years old. So he illegally obtained a gun, and that is considered a misdemeanor. That is the equivalent of shoplifting. So a boy who is 17 years old has a gun in America, and that is considered a misdemeanor. He can kill anybody he wants. He can hurt anyone he wants with that gun, and it would still be a misdemeanor. And so the reality is, um, there's injustice in America. There's injustice in a lot of places. I mean, I grew up in a country where my first 8 years, it was a dictatorship where you had people who were being executed, people who were being put in jail wrongfully, unlawfully, and they were all the same color. So these things happen all over the world. But since I live in America now, I am saying this is ridiculous. This is appalling. I mean, we're always going to have things that are going to be unjust in America, but could we work it out so we can have less injustice and not be so blatant about it? I mean, come on, America. You actually, and some of you actually believe that this was a correct verdict. You actually believe that, yeah, of course of course that's right. Of course he had the right to do that. Of course he felt threatened. He felt threatened. I tell you this, if I saw a young 17-year-old coming at me with a gun, I would feel threatened. Yet he was able to say, he felt threatened, his life was threatened, so he had the right to shoot and retaliate and kill two people and injure a third one. Come on. There is so much hypocrisy in this. It is amazing the amount of hypocrisy that we see here in America, where there are people who are claiming to even be law-abiding, upstanding citizens, Christians even, Christians, God-fearing people who actually agree with this kind of stuff. You can't. First of all, you have to look at what Jesus said. He said, love your neighbor as yourself. You would not want your child to be killed, white or black. You would not want your child to be killed. And then there's no payment or no justice for your child's death. No matter how conservative you are, no matter how liberal you are, no matter what you are, there's no way you would say, it's okay if my child gets killed and there is a verdict where the person is acquitted for my child's death. It's okay that my child was shot. But that's what happened in America. I don't even know how these jurors believe that it was justified to acquit someone in that situation. But I think most of them just said, you know what? He's a young white man. I mean, he made a mistake. He had bad judgment. I'm sure he'll learn from it. Yeah, those people, they got killed, but, they shouldn't have been protesting or rioting or looting. And this young man crossed state lines with a gun because he decided he's American, he's white, what would happen to him. And you know what? He was right. He did his calculations, and he calculated correctly. He knew that he would get away with it. That is the sad part. And it is hypocritical that that so many in America are supporting this. But I know there are a lot of people in America who don't support that. Black, white, Spanish, a lot of different people in America do not support this. But I think in America, we have to make some changes. This is absolutely ridiculous. And you know what? I think in every nation, in every society, there comes a point where people are so blatant about the injustice that there comes a point where people said, enough is enough. We need to have change. now. This is ridiculous. Absolute ridiculous. And I know there are some of you who are listening to me, you don't agree. Fine. Tell me what you don't agree about. Write a note. Give me a comment. Tell me what you don't agree with. I want to hear how you're thinking. And if you agree, tell me what you agree with. All right? Tell me. But this is absolutely appalling. This is an appalling verdict. A young man gets away with murder. He's not even charged on the 2 counts of reckless endangerment. They didn't even think that that was reckless for him to take a gun, go across state line, bring it to a gathering, and shoot people with it. They did not even say that that was reckless. I don't know where they found these jurors, but they did a good job finding the right jurors for him. Definitely did a great job. And you know what? America, it's a sad situation. You are not living up to what you say that you have when you say liberty and justice for all. That is a farce. You cannot say you have liberty and justice for all and have these type of things happen. But we know that the American law, the justice system was made mostly for the benefit of whites and to the detriment of non-whites, especially blacks. That's how the justice system is set up. So when you think about a person who is white facing murder or anything like that, there's a 90, we could say that person might think, you know what, I have a 99% chance of being acquitted. And if I killed a black person or I killed somebody who stood for black people, I have even a greater chance of being acquitted. Now, if I kill somebody who's white, I may not get away with it as easily, but I still have a chance. Now, if it's a black person who's facing murder charges, if he or she killed anyone or comes close to killing someone or just has a gun or appears to have a gun, he's likely to get shot. Now, if he's in court, he has 99% to 100% chance of serving jail time just because he got to court. Just because he was accused or she was accused, there's likelihood that that person will spend jail time, will have jail time because of who they are in America. And I know that happens in every country. There are injustices in every country where people of power get away with murder and people who don't have as much power do not get away with anything. I know that happens everywhere. But come on, America. Come on. You got to do better than that. It's so blatantly obvious. You're not even pretending that you have justice. You're just like, whatever. We just want to have our justice and have our way, and that's it. You're not even pretending. At least have a little shame. At least some shame. The Rittenhouse not guilty verdict is appalling. It's embarrassing. It's disgraceful. But you know what? It's America. It's the American way right now. That is the American way. And like I said earlier, if I was white, I would probably say, you know what? I understand why he did it. I understand how he got away with it. Because most white Americans believe that they will get away with it. And if they're faced with a black um, plaintiff and they are a defendant, they are almost guaranteed to get away with it. That's the way of America. But we in America, we have to change. We have to change. We have to do we have to do better. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. That's the only thing I can say. This is embarrassing. It's 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 uh it's hypocritical and it's embarrassing. And I do want to hear what you have to say. And I do want you to subscribe so we can keep this conversation going because I do see that liberty and justice is only for some. It is not liberty and justice for all in America. We need to amend that, edit that until there's change. We should say, and liberty and justice for some. That's what we need to say when we say, I think it's the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Yeah, that's the Pledge of Allegiance. We need to say it's liberty and justice for some. Thank you for listening. Subscribe. Let me know what you're thinking. You don't agree? Let me know why you don't agree. You agree? Tell me why you agree. But I do want to know from you because I'm really curious to know how you're thinking. You know how I'm thinking. Thank you for listening.
If you like what you saw and you'd like to see more in the future, subscribe.